It's Wednesday, June 12th, 2013, and for young people across our nation, probably across the world, or at least the northern hemisphere, it is summer vacation. Summer vacation can be filled with a lot of fun things, and it also can be filled with, I'm bored, I don't know what to do. Well, today in the Wall Street Journal, there's an article addressing just that. It's called A Smart Answer to the Season of I'm Bored. I'll put a link up so that you can read this article for yourself, but I did want to just read a little bit of it here because I thought it was very interesting. I figured it was going to be an article about how here are some great activities you can do or ways that you can inspire kids to have a great summer, but there was a little something in here about stress. I'm quoting here, we assign a lot of social meaning to boredom, says John D. Eastwood, an associate professor of psychology at York University in Toronto and lead author of the study. When children complain of being bored, parents sometimes are threatened, thinking, what's wrong with you? Or actually they're threatening their children there, aren't they? What's wrong with you? Or they judge themselves as parents, thinking they failed to bring up their child to have the proper character or skills, he says. Instead, parents should take a deep breath, step back, and help children explore solutions for themselves. In other words, prevent the fight or flight stress response. Use a tool so that you don't go into fight or flight. Otherwise, you're going to threaten your kids. You're going to be in that more angry state. Many youngsters in the grips of boredom shows physiological symptoms of stress, such as an accelerated heart rate and elevated levels of hormone cortisol, according to research co-written by James Dankert, a psychology professor specializing in cognitive neuroscience at the University of Waterloo in Ontario, Canada. Other studies link boredom to nail biting and emotional eating. Both nail biting and emotional eating are things we do for comfort. We come here for comfort. We link coming here as something that's going to satisfy us. Stress response. If parents trigger the stress response, then they're in fight or flight. And fight or flight's contagious. So we'll say things and do things that our kids will then respond back with triggering the stress response as well. So that's why there's this elevated level of cortisol. Earlier, when they first triggered, there would be elevated levels of adrenaline. That could be your kids bouncing off the walls. They've got too much energy because they triggered fight or flight, brought all this fat and glucose here, so they've got to use it somehow. And then the cortisol hits, and that creates anxiety. Cortisol makes you feel anxious, and it also can cause you to have trouble sleeping. Cortisol is a really fascinating drug. It actually releases a few hours in our bodies before we wake up every day. It's our wake-up drug. So it's fascinating to track what these hormones are doing in our bodies, but ideally, we don't trigger fight or flight all day. In the summer, I've watched families go on vacation and trigger it all the time. It seems like we can't get out of that busy rush mode even when we're at the beach. I hear parents saying, get up here, come and have your sandwich now, and they're in this angry mode and their faces are all furrowed and they're definitely not having much fun. So what I hope for you is that you have a fantastic summer, and when there are lazy times or things not going on so much, that instead of feeling bored and triggering fight or flight, which is going to make that situation worse, you stay calm, relaxed, and you find some solutions. I'm Elle with Pressure Free Living, wishing you a pressure-free summer.